hey, the number on the scale doesn't matter because muscle weighs more than fat.
That is such a big misconception, where people don't realize. We're like, yes, you're losing weight, you're losing the fat. Yes, you may not see the scale exactly showing, the weight loss that you want. The fat is burning off, and you're putting muscle on at the same time. I feel like so many people, just don't grasp that.
You are now tuning in to the Roughnecks Podcast with your host, Cole Nixon. Much love.
Here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. We are on, I don't know what episode. We're on a different location today. It's never done this before, so it's interesting. Throwing in the what are we gonna call it? The road podcast. We'll call it that. But we are at Matheny Muscle here. And what is it? Technically Columbus? Is it Powell?
Yeah, this is Grandview area.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but Columbus. This is like heart of Columbus. But first, I'm just happy to say to be your first, Cole. So
yeah, it's I actually like it. Came in, got a quick workout in.
Yeah.
Now we're sitting here in the gym doing a podcast, which this is actually really cool for me. Like, just to kind of have a different setting,
Sure.
And it might be the first video podcast. We'll see how the video turns out, but it might be the first video podcast. But yeah, Zach Matheny, welcome to the Roughnecks Podcast. Just kind of give the Roughnecks listeners a little background on who you are, just so they can get familiar with you if they don't know who you are already.
Okay. Well, first, thanks for having me on, Cole. I was telling Cole I was appreciative of him coming down here, but I thought, Cole, we should tell people why you're really here too. But.
Oh yeah, I did forget about that. So, well, the weird thing is so we already had one scheduled. Because we scheduled it about a month out, and then we ended up, you guys had the March Madness Bracket Challenge, and I somehow won. Don't know how the hell. I was telling you guys earlier about how my original bracket, which was the one I entered in your guys's, did awesome. I had a really good bracket, and then the one I entered in my girlfriend's family did absolutely terrible. I didn't feel like I made that many different picks, but apparently I did. It went against North Carolina in the bracket that I entered, and I'm a North Carolina fan, so it was a little tough to do that.
UConn's just too good, man.
When they're winning by 30 and going on 30-0 runs, it's like, that's unheard of. Yeah. So I won that, and part of your guys' thing was a workout and stuff, so I was like, why don't we just do it all in one day, knock it all out, and get it all done. Yeah. So...
All right. Well, I guess I can dive into it. So yeah, Cole won our competition. I got to get you a T-shirt too, right? Because you were first.
Yes.
Okay. So Jake and I, we did some sumo deadlifts, and we went through a little circuit too. So we got it in, and I'll make sure first place winner Cole here gets a T-shirt. But we are at Matheny Muscle House. This has been kind of my lifelong goal to open a place like this. It's personal training, private gym here. I've been personal training this is going on my 8th year now. I can kind of give my backstory on how I got here. But this is Matheny Muscle House. We opened basically December of 2023. Jake has been on your podcast in the past. Yep. Jake and Noah are two guys I've been familiar with. Jake a little less. I knew him more online. Noah I trained with at Old School for a few months at least. He was interning there. This is how I got to know him. And these are two guys I was really interested in and bringing on my mission. I'm very, very protective of what I've been trying to build here. I was telling you, Cole, and these are two guys that in the Columbus area, who were looking to build their personal training business. So I knew they had to be a part of it. And that's the first thing I'll say here is you'll come in, you'll notice we're a team. We all work together. They've trained my clients. I've trained theirs. Just making sure we help one another. That's my big thing here. So we'll come in and we really encourage people come in and I'm sure, I have different methods than Jake. Yeah. Jake has Noah, right? And, we'll have someone for you here. So that's Matheny Muscle. I can tell you a little bit more about my background too, but I'm 28. I'm a power lifter. I've competed in bodybuilding too. Those are kind of my competitive sides. And I went to school at Capitol out in Bexley. And that's kind of how I found out about Old School, which kind of led me to a lot of these things we're here at today. But, I started off playing soccer there, and was my first love, and kind of through high school and college got into the strength training, found Corey G, and started doing his workouts when I was probably 16. I started I actually have a voicemail on my phone still of Corey calling me right around my 16th birthday. It's a long story of somehow my mom got it hooked up, and he called me on my birthday more or less, and I've been kind of following his stuff ever since, and got to about 19 is when I started training there. 20 is when I started really training with Corey. And up until, basically December of 2023, I was training alongside Corey, the 4 a.m. crew, kind of like how I learned everything. And, through those 8 or 9 years training, the passion grew. And I knew like the gym was coming at some point. It just was a matter of time and when and having all the right things ready. I really believe that because I had training with Zach. That was my personal training with business.
Okay.
And then we, grew it. And, that's actually what my LLC is called, but we did a DBA and it's Matheny Muscle now. And this is the gym and kind of the iteration of what we've come to. So we're all personal training in person now. We offer some like small group stuff too, but we're going to be growing to offer some online stuff as well here soon. So that's kind of our, little spiel here, but we're really private. We really believe in strength training, in body, like at least muscle growth. We're like big on, hey, as you age, you should be adding muscle, right?
Yes.
This is going to help when you fall when you're 60. You have to go to the hospital and spend 2 weeks in there. You're not moving at all, right? Having a little extra muscle mass as you age is going to help you so much more. This disease is called scarcopenia. As you age, right, a decrease in muscle mass. This is a pretty commonly known thing, at least in the fitness industry and health industry now. Like, hey, as you age, it's going to be tougher to keep muscle on. So we really are trying to make strength training and muscle building like cool for the common person, right? Like it doesn't have to be that spray tan bodybuilder up on stage. Like I've done these things, and I've been on the extreme sides of things. That's why I think I can really make it palatable for, the 9 to 5er, just like, hey, like I want to be healthy, right?
Yeah.
I think since COVID, like people are like, yeah, maybe I should be strength training to some degree. And we were talking about this earlier, and it's just like the common, the bell curve is starting to shift. Like we're going to see just a lot more fit people around. I really believe that in the next 20 to 30 years. So that's, that I'm here along for the ride.
Well, and I think a lot of people freaking get very like concerned or like, almost like scared of it because they think it is like all bodybuilding. And like you go to gyms, you always have that one guy that's, the bodybuilder type. And I think people get a little discouraged from it when in reality, it doesn't take much to stay active, to stay fit.
No.
So like, I mean, what is your guys' range of your clients right now? Do you guys have a lot of younger? Do you have some older too?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it ranges anywhere from like mid 20s to, I train guys into their 70s even. And it's still around the same mission. Like, hey, you should be training to be strong. We should be training to build muscle and working your cardiovascular health. So with that said though, like every individual is going to have different goals, right? And that's what we like really push here. Like, hey, you're going to have a very private and personalized program for you, right? So, but from there it devolves, and we really just are trying to help people, as you're aging, right? Okay, maybe you should be strength training. You shouldn't be deadlifting 400 pounds, right? But we can make a kettlebell deadlift pretty challenging for you too. So, the scaling and our ability to, change a movement but apply the same stimulus for someone is like where we believe our expertise is at for any age. But yeah, it's really in that, like, I'd say 30 to 50 is kind of like our main group age. So
what was the decision because you're a private only gym, so you can't just like walk in here and do your own workout. What was the decision? Why did you decide to go that way versus going, the public or commercial style route?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think when I was younger and like had all these hopes and aspirations, like you think of like these gyms you grow up going to and you're like, yeah, that'd be so cool to open this big place. Like all these people come, but that business model is like pretty tough to survive in. At least
there's so many nowadays.
Sure.
Like everybody knows of LA Fitness. Everybody knows of a Planet Fitness, and there's so many different gyms out there anymore.
Sure. And those gyms are focused on, and I worked at a Lifetime Fitness for a long time, so I know the corporate side of the gym business, and that's very focused on accessibility and these types of things, right? At the private place, though, it skips all that, right? And like we're really looking for, these business professionals, people who like know my time in Matheny Muscle is going to be valued, right? So I'm coming in for an hour, I'm leaving in an hour, I'm done, I get my workout in, I don't have to think about it. We really try to take it off our clients' hands. Like, hey, come in, work out, you get to leave, and like really just skip all kind of the gunk of it, right?
You don't have to spend hours of research every week trying to figure out what workout to do, or throwing your workouts together randomly and maybe not getting the goal that you're hoping to get.
Yeah, and really the private thing, we like my big goal with it is just to like make the novice feel more comfortable. I mean, because it is really intimidating.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it really is intimidating walking into a gym. I've been there myself. I really have. I mean, it was when I first started getting into all this, and it's like, whoa. Like, where do I start? And I had a great mentor for almost 10 years, Corey Gregory. And you know what, like through that, if you hire someone or a friend, like we preach that, like bring a friend along, even that can be like better than being by yourself, right? So just, you know, being able to like be with someone like and like, hey, I'm here to push and so are you, like that's like a very valuable thing. So that's what we try to be. Like I always tell Jake and Noah, like we're accountability partners first. Right? Like we're good personal trainers and we really try to teach fitness, but at the end of the day, like someone's gonna have progress because they keep showing up. So like we always try to operate from that point of view.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. If you don't look the part, it makes people a little more hesitant to like want to work with you. I mean, I mean, it's the same as like if somebody asks, you know, some random person to produce a podcast, it's not the same as like asking me. Sure. And like I'm not gonna go down to any Joe Blow on the street and be like, hey, train me. Versus like I see your videos, I see you working out. I just worked out with you and myself. With what, you got a broken foot or something?
Something. I don't know. I just
like,
try to
and
forget
you're still
about
in
it.
here hitting the workout. So like that just shows, and it makes, I feel like your clients appreciate that more. Like they're putting in the work. And they're putting in work for me too, so like it's a win-win kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's a big principle. You know, my name's on the door.
Yeah,
Cole, right? So like that means a lot to me, and I really think like when I step in here, like I'm never gonna ask someone to do something I haven't done. Yeah. And for me, it is important to look the part. I think there are a lot of great trainers out there that don't necessarily look fit, but being healthy and fit are two different things. So for me, yes, like my priorities and what I like to do revolve around some aesthetics and strength, right? So, and that's obviously people come to me are learning these things, right? But I'm not, you know, ever gonna like, hey, you have to look a certain way to someone that's coming in here. But like we are improving on, hey, when you first walked in the door, you are gonna be healthy, you're gonna be stronger, you're gonna build muscle, okay? And that's just really where we operate from, and I really think that's where Matheny Muscle is gonna continue to go.
Because you guys do so like, what are your range of workouts? Like you guys do like early morning workouts, like how late do you do workouts? What's the kind of like the time range for you guys' workouts?
Yeah, so I'm lucky now I've been doing this for closer to 8 years with some people. And, you know, I've been able to build my base up. I'm mostly morning. So me, Noah, Jake, our girlfriends come in the morning. I have a couple guys that also join us for our morning workouts. We personally work out at like 4:45 a.m. We'll all meet here, lift. And we just do that time because we'll either start at like some days 6:15, 6:30. Like I'll generally most days have clients starting by 6:15, 6:30 a.m. And then we're just stacking back and forth. And we've messed with it enough in here where like, okay, me and Jake can have 2 clients at a time. Or we can all have one, right? We're kind of figuring out, because I really want like the busy hours to be maximized in here, because our first year here, we're still very focused on in-person training. I'm really trying to get Noah and Jake to build their schedules up a little more. And they're really focused on building group sessions too. So like Jake and Noah have this great class Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. And we're trying to get another one on Saturdays in here, but we have a few guys, but I give them the full hour. I actually don't schedule a client during these times. And they have 3 guys. We've gotten a 4th in here, and just trying to like really utilize the full space, because it's only about 900 square feet, but we got everything you need to, and we have enough space. And you know, I love the one-on-one time, but what we're learning as a gym, a small private gym, like the busy times, right? Like before work, 6, 7 a.m. Like we really should be pushing the group sessions, right? And then what I've done is I've been lucky that, you know, as you train more, you'll get these business professionals who are more flexible, right? As people work up in their career, they generally have more flexibility.
Some people might do it during their lunch breaks. They're called lunch break, or some people have to wait until before or after work.
Exactly. And something I've been really lucky as a trainer, I've tried to at least be conscious about this, is building my schedule to work for me too. So a lot of days, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, most days I'm out of here by like 2 p.m., which is great. Now that means I generally have a client group at 6:30, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then I'm done. But like I've gotten to the point where, you know, you have these doctors, lawyers, people who are flexible, right? And you can fill these gaps. And I think like if any advice to like a trainer trying to maybe do this some days, like your schedule's gonna suck for a while. Mine did like for a while too. Like you were telling me about your schedule too. And it's like, it's just anything you're gonna do in the beginning, it's going to suck, like the schedule wise. And I was able to kind of push through all that because I love this. I really do. And my story originally started at a place, Cardinal Health. I was working in finance and all that. And I only lasted 10 months because I hated it, man. Like it just wasn't for me. But like, if you really love something, you can push through the gunk, right? So like, I've been lucky to really build my schedule now. But Jake and Noah, they're here hustling like late. Like Noah's here till 8 p.m. some nights. I mean, these guys are starting at 6. I mean, they're also working other jobs. Jake has his business up in Polaris. Noah's doing a bunch of other things and also is in the Army. That's why he's not here this weekend. But they've been so great. And like I told them in the beginning, like, guys, I'm going to get your schedules full. I had some clients already interested in training with them because of their expertise. And you know, I've dropped my ego out the door, man, because like I really want this place to grow. Like, and if it turns into them running it more, then that's what it is. Like, and I really love those guys, and like I want them to know this is like a team effort here. So that's what we're about, man.
That's what I think is one of the most important things with people, especially in like, you know, a small business type style. You know, I'm from a company of 3 people too. So like when you have 3 people, like you get very close with each other. Yes, you drive each other crazy sometimes.
Sure,
like
yeah.
there's times you want to kill them. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like you're around these people every day. They become kind of like your best friend, and but it seems like you were able to, you know, differentiate, you know, best friend and business. There is 2 different sides, and it can be tough sometimes. But and one of the other things that I like too is like, you know, talking about throwing your ego out the door. Yeah, you may have, you know, 20 more clients that walk in the door and be like, I want to train with you, and you're like, I can't take all of you, but you're able to throw them some clients like, hey, you know, these guys are just as good. You know, they might have a little bit different take, like you said, on some things, but overall it's the same style, same goals.
That was my biggest fear, Cole, coming into all this. Like because my business first was training with Zach. Everyone that like, my revenue was driven solely by people wanting to train with me. And I was aware of that, right? So I'm like, okay, growing into Matheny Muscle, we have to start developing some type of method. And like, for me, that's like the best personal training you can get in Columbus. Yeah. Okay. So like when you walk in that door, like that's what's going to happen, whether you're with me, Jake, or Noah. And that's like, for me, that's empowering because I know these guys are great. They really are. And I think my clients are even my personal clients now are seeing it, and they've trained with them too, and it's been really powerful, man. But I knew like, okay, Zach, if I want really this to keep growing and to get bigger than just me, like I have to let it go, right? And part of that's letting these guys do their thing.
And it's really hard to do too, especially when it's yours and you're starting out. Like I for the longest time, you know, didn't want anybody else to be a part of the podcast. I wanted it. It's my podcast. No. It's not anybody else's. And then it's the whole thing of, you know, you can't do everything either. So like giving up some of the tasks or things that need done, like, hey, can you take care of this for me? Like I still edit everything. I still run the social media. But now when people are like, hey, you want me to help? And I'm like, actually, yes. Like, I have, and especially when you have so much going on. But what did you go to school for? I have to ask.
Finance.
Okay. I figured there was something business related because it seems like you have a very good understanding of business. What going into this style of business, like, was the hardest thing in business aspect to learn, you know, about all this? Yeah.
I think I've never, the best thing I learned in business school, I went to a small school capital, and it's like to always ask questions, right?
Yes.
So I think, at least in the opening of the gym for me, Cole, it was going through, I got a small business loan, and that process was like very interesting. And I was like trying to like learn, like I'm happy to share, I took a $50,000 loan out. It was like the minimum you can get through the SBA. And I did that one purely because I knew it was going to go a little faster. If it was under, I think they say it's under 6 figures, it generally is like a little faster. Okay. But the SBA stuff was still like a lot of red tape because it's the government and like takes some time. And like what I learned through that process, like, is just to ask questions, because there were a lot of things, but I felt prepared for it because I know how to write a business plan and all these things because of school. And it's really, so I guess the story I'll tell is I sent the projections in of like how I think the business is going to do in like 3 to 5 years. And the guy that I worked with, Columbus State, and they, you know, it was free. Well, our taxes pay for it, but they're like helping. You know, he's basically a mentor through this entire. I mean, I went through this for like 6 to 8 months, like walking through this whole thing. We started last April, and you know, I got the gym in December, so yeah, roughly 8 months. And he was like, he's like, Zach, because each year I said the gym is going to do better. I was like trying to be modest though, right? And he's like, you need to say, you're going to do a lot better. And I was like, okay. So, you know, obviously I believe in myself, Cole, right? But it's like really believing like this thing can keep growing. Cause like we're 4 months into the gym, almost 5 now. And like, I'm just blown away by like the progress, and like all the little fears I had like coming into it are like diminished, man. Because like I mean, once again, I have a great team, and I think just asking the right questions has led me to this point. But yeah, man, I mean, that's the biggest challenge. I think a lot of people are like, how do I get, just ask. Like I'm in the belief that most people want to help.
Oh, I agree 100%.
You have to approach it in the right way. It's
Yes.
and that's one of the best things Corey taught me is like, even personal relationships, you have to offer value back, right? Like, and for me, I got to learn everything from Corey for like 10 years. I mean, and the best things weren't the gym. They were the business things,
Yes.
right? And you know what? I showed up every day, improved his methods.
Yeah.
For me, I was a good training partner, right? And I just bought in. And that's the value I added to him. And what I got back was, you can't even put a price on that, man. So I think like ask the right questions and just like be able to put yourself in a position to learn. I mean, I think that's why Jake and Noah are here to be better trainers too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I brought them on so I could be a better trainer myself. So.
Well, I like what you were talking about with the financial projections because you said, of course I believe in myself, but it's like, I feel like that's very similar to the gym. Like we believe we can lift heavy weight or we believe we can hit that weight, but we kind of short ourselves always a little bit. Sure. There's always that little bit of almost self-doubt, and it's normal to have, and you're gonna have that in every aspect of life. And when you start to truly understand that, because I've had people tell me like expect like 10% better, whatever it is, expect 10% better, because then if you
only get 1% better, it's still better. So
yeah, like you always have to. I don't want to say expect the worst, but like you have to be prepared for what the worst could be, but also try to exceed those expectations and get past those, whether it's business, whether it's working out, whatever type of, facility, whatever type of aspect it's in.
Yeah. Well, and back to like why a good training partners or, just having people around you, right? Like being able to like, not call you out necessarily, but like, I think when you do a lot of these things alone, you're not really pushing yourself. And that's, back to the training thing at old school, I was around a bunch of other dudes who want to get strong. Oh, yeah. And you get better. Yeah. Right?
I mean, being around those guys is it's almost a different animal. Is it intimidating, I'll say, like at old school? Like because I've kind of like to ask people this because I've had a lot of people in my area have gone to old school and stuff. And it's like, I think people see the videos of Corey, see the videos of Dustin, see the videos of some of the guys that were like Arnold's been there. Like you got these. Is it intimidating, especially for if you're not into working out as much, or what? How is that vibe there? And are you trying to kind of copy that vibe or make your own vibe too?
I'm just giggling because I can tell you stories for days. But the one I always tell people about being intimidated, when I first went in there, like if anyone follows me listening, Tyler Treadway is one of my best friends, the guy I was lunging with this morning. I remember coming into the gym and I was 18 or 19 at this point. I was a freshman, almost a sophomore at Capital, and Treadway was working out with Corey and all those guys at that point. It wasn't even the 4 a.m. crew yet. They were like training at 5. And I remember seeing Treadway and like act, because I still call him, I joke that he's like being let out from prison in the morning to work out with us, and because he has this big beard, he's a big guy, and he's really just a big teddy bear. But I remember being so intimidated by him, and it's just like funny now because we're best friends, and like I could beat him up, but I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, it's weird. Cole, it's honestly still, I haven't been there in a few months, but it's like the most comfortable place. Okay. I remember people ask like, where do you feel most comfortable? Old school, 100%. And I'm trying to make that this place now. Right. And like, that was something like emotionally leaving old school for me was like really, really tough. And like, it's never really leaving. I got it tatted on me, but it's like a forever home for me. And, I may even get a little emotional here, man. I really care about the place a lot. And like, I competed in December I got my name back on the PR board for my squat. And, I was kind of like, I was trying to do that as I was leaving. Right. And then that was like a big thing for me to leave. But yeah, man, it's an intimidating place, but that's really only because of your perception before you get in there. And like, I think a lot of people, even when I leave, I hear this outside of old school. It's like, I'm not strong enough. Fuck that, man. Like, like you are strong enough. Like, and like, you don't have to be strong. Like, you don't have to lift a certain amount of weight it's people joke because I say it all the time, but I'd say be about it. It's not, you don't have to lift a certain weight. Like, I tore my bicep and I haven't deadlifted the same weight in almost close to 3 years now. And that my deadlift's my best lift. But you know what? Like, every time I step over that bar, even today, I only pulled 450, 430. Like, I still approach it like, hey, I'm going to pull this like a motherfucker. And like, this is my weight. And I think just like owning that and like, yes, I have hopes that I can get back up to those weights, but that's why I'm not intimidated anymore. And I think like people like think it's maybe like, oh, they're going to view me this way. I saw so many people come in and out of old school. The only people that like got shit on or hate were like people that like thought they were too cool or something, right? Like people that cared and like worked hard. The weight didn't matter. It really didn't, man. And like every single guy that lives there now would agree with me. I mean, it really didn't matter. It was like being humble, shutting the fuck up in the beginning, because a lot of guys like they'll come in there and they're I don't know, just it's crazy. But really just like trying to learn, man, because that's the people kind of twist it. Like, yes, we were like a gym and all these things, but everyone there was working on something else. Like it wasn't like mine just happened to be fitness too, and I was learning from Corey. But all those guys, Trey, Treadway, Cole, Danny, who doesn't really lift in the morning with them, but like all those, like everyone's doing their thing and like had something else going on outside the gym. So it was really about the development of men and like becoming a better person or business person, right? So I think for us, like the intimidation part, we didn't think about because it was really like we showed up, did the weights, and that was just like a non-negotiable. So yeah, man, it was intimidating, and like I think. Though you got past it pretty quick because if you realize, hey, this is about effort, really, and just like showing up.
Yeah, I mean, think of meeting a celebrity. If you go to meet a celebrity, like you walk up on them, like at first you're like, holy crap. But once you start, getting into it, it's just like after a couple of weeks or even one day at that gym or whatever gym it is, you start to let go of maybe that self-conscious feeling.
Sure.
And you just start to enjoy the process, really. Sure. I mean, and that's the biggest thing, especially in fitness and really in life, is to enjoy the process because it goes by fast. Like, I mean, I blinked and I'm already at 200 and some episodes. You probably blinked and all of a sudden now you have this whole gym and it's like, I mean, you imagined it, but you didn't imagine maybe this. Like, it kind of starts to happen so fast, and sometimes you just have to slow down and take it in.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm so fortunate for my time there, and I think once again, it's like it's just a product of the work we continue to put in, and it's like, hey, we showed up every day, and it compounded over time. And I really believe that. I mean, I really do remember sitting there 10 years ago, Cole, and being like, because I don't have a degree in exercise science or any of that stuff. I have a lot of time though, like under the bar, and like I really believe this. Like I knew like people would view me differently for not having these degrees and things like that, and that's fine. Like that's okay. Like. I believe though, like if I put my time in now though, and like continue, because I feel very much like I'm on the cusp, like the beginning still of learning, right? But this is the point I'm at, and I can be able to have this place, and I'm like, okay, like I'm put my time in, and I'm always telling people like if I don't know something, we'll hand it off. Like Audrey, my girlfriend, she's a dietitian. Like she very much is like starting to come into here and like help out with a lot of our nutrition side of things too. And that's something I don't know anything about.
And that's huge in business. That's what you have to do. Like if you don't know, it's find a way to hand it off or go learn about it. Like, but you have the opportunity of, I don't have to take on more stuff right now. Yeah. I have somebody that can help me handle this.
Yeah. I'm a businessman first, like, right? So I think a good businessman, I like, try to put myself and people around me in positions to succeed, right? Yeah. And I'm trying to let my ego go. I've been seeing a therapist like in the last year and a half now, and like one of the big things we talk about is like ego. Mm-hmm. And like that was an like tearing my bicep. I'm a big believer. I tore my bicep for a reason to like fucking tell myself to chill out my ego. And it was like a very humbling process to go through that. And I think that's just like what I'm trying to learn through all this too, Cole. Like, and I like sharing out a lot of the non-lifting things on my Instagram too. Like this is such a process, man. And, I think I've become a better person through opening the gym, and that's how you should see fitness, man. Like, yes, let's get fit and healthy, but like this regiment and these other things will bleed into other parts of your life. Like that's why I showed up at 4 a.m. to lift all those years, because I'm like, this is going to make me a better person in other ways, not just lifting. That's just a byproduct though.
Oh, I agree 100%. The gym is a very magical place. Like you won't even realize it sometimes. Like I look back at even high school stuff, like working out in high school, especially in college, like, and you just get to, or if you work out with a buddy, you get to chatting about things. And then like it starts, and finding that mentor is very important no matter what, if you're going fitness, whatever. And like you said, there's so many people that are willing to help. It is the approach of how you do it. A lot of people, if you come asking me for help about like a podcast or something, and it's like, if you say things the wrong way or like kind of almost like expect, like, I've had, I won't say any names obviously, but like I had a long while back that was like, hey, where'd you get your logo made? I want to, can you make me a logo? Like just kind of like wanting me to do things for free. And I'm like, listen, like, my time is valuable. I can't just offer everything for free. So that's one of the biggest things that I had to learn, like, especially I'm sure you had to learn it. Maybe with your time is valuable. You can't just go offering things up for free all the time.
No, I'll have
it's tough too, because like you want to help people, but like I can't. I can maybe give you a quick answer, but I can't give you the full in-depth answer.
Yeah, it happens still. Like I think people, like if you follow me on Instagram, you're aware I have a gym. But I have people who hit me up all the time and ask questions. I'm always happy to share out information, but sometimes like the approach does matter, right? Like, like I think like one that's easy, like people hit me up, hey, I've been following you for a while, like I love your content, like I'm always happy to help someone that's like been supporting me too. But if you're a dick about it, like maybe I'm not gonna help you, right?
Well, I had to learn that a few times. I like would reread asking somebody to come on a podcast and be like, wow, that just sounds really bad, like that's not gonna happen. Usually it doesn't. So.
Because like it's got to feel natural, right? I mean, it needs to flow. So
exactly. So what is, like, do you have to, when you're working with different clients, is there a way, like, do you have to work with each kind of client differently, or is it a lot of the same style?
Sure.
Because I know, like, I saw it, you see it playing sports, like a lot of players, like you can't be a hard ass to that player, but you have to kind of treat them a little gentle. And like, it's fine. Everybody has their different approach.
Definitely. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not naming names here. My clients will come after me, but man, I mean, it's like, I think a big part of this, what we do is understanding psychology, and like there's all these great studies out there that I have no ideas about, but there are ways of, like, certain people do better with certain types of workouts, right? Some people, like, and that could mean like a circuit based thing, that could mean more strength, right? We obviously have our mission here, and everyone's coming for some type of strength, some type of muscle building, and some type of cardiovascular. It's very broad things though still, right? Cool. But like perfect example is like I have some people who I feel like come in and they think because we always have the workouts written on the board, okay? I have some people who come in and think like if they get it all done before the hour ends, they get to leave. So they're doing it as fast as possible, right? So part of my job is slowing them down and teaching them like, hey, like part of growing the muscle or being stronger is part of the recovery process, right? So like, let's not do this right away. Let's take a second, do it again, right? So that's one example. On the other side, man, like we have some people who, maybe it's like motivation wise, they're like, okay, Zach, I'm like struggling to get here even one time a week. Okay, let's start with a walk outside of here. I have an app called Trainerize. It's like very common among other trainers. Again, Noah and Jake plugged in on it too. And it's like, let's offer them, hey, like we'll write you a workout to do at home just so you can be like more consistent, right? Yeah. I really try to teach these guys, and I've been really lucky that I don't bring on a ton of new people anymore. I mean, I have very few spots open because a lot of my clients, they'll go from twice a week to 3 times a week, 3 times a week to 4 times. I have a handful of guys now training with me almost 5 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week. And that's powerful because, now we get to help them kind of with their entire fitness. Like I'm literally doing their entire program, and they're probably going to have a faster result. I mean, like if they're trying to put on some muscle, I mean, hey, this may be more effective in a year or 6 months, 3 months, whatever your timeline is, right? So I think, yes, the most people that come in here are people that probably haven't been in a gym too much on their own. So it's getting them to understand like the consistency process, because most people, like food, they'll binge working out and they won't make it there for a long time. Like that's a story I hear time and time again. And it's very true. And it's like, showing up like and doing half-ass thing is better every day, honestly, than doing it a couple times and then not coming back to gym for 3 months. Like, I mean, that's the truth. So that's the biggest thing I try to get people just to like, so some people come in way too hot and some people come in way too cold. So getting people to understand like, hey, a little more the next day or maybe a little less, what it be. But yeah, that's like, I would say the next thing after like we discuss their goals, getting them to understand like intensity. I always start with people, hey, there's 3 ways typically we can manipulate your workouts. And this is like kind of more in the weightlifting world, but it's through intensity, volume, or frequency, right? So, and I'm like, okay, so we can do heavier things, we can do more things often, or we can like do it more volume, right? So like do it again. So, and I start with that and it's like, hey, let's just, and then we talk about like, a lot of things like, hey, I want to improve maybe this, that, like, and I'll have guys come in and like, they don't want to do legs at all, but I'm like, hey, listen, like, I'm going to, at the minimum, like we're going to do some legs, right? So we're healthy and balanced, right? Like I get it. Like we don't have to do legs twice a week. That's fine with me, but we're definitely going to do, and you're going to go walk on your own, right? So it's like really showing people the roadmap of like, hey, being a little healthier. I don't expect anyone to ever walk in here and like, hey, you have to do a powerlifting meet or a bodybuilding show. I would never expect that out of someone. Once again, that's why my content shifted. You go back and look like 3 or 4 years ago, like a lot of stuff I posted is like a lot of the strength stuff I do, which I still post and I love doing that. A lot of people do come for me, especially online, is the powerlifting side of things. But I really want to make my mission, what makes me feel good as a trainer, is like getting someone who like can't go to the gym, start going to the gym. Like that makes me feel fucking awesome. Right. And it's like, wow, like I have a lot of old clients who I don't train anymore, but I know are going to the gym every week. Shout out my guy, Adam. I don't know if he listens to podcasts, but he's at the old gym I was at, man. And he hustles every day, like goes in Monday through Friday. Last I talked to him, and that's powerful, man. That's really cool. So that's the scope we operate from, like trying to get people to like understand like the differing levels, but it's like, hey, let's just be a little more consistent. Yeah.
What would you say is like a good time frame, or not time frame, I guess frequency, like amount of times per week to work out, like maybe for the beginner versus, more of an advanced person? Because, I don't know, is there like a set thing that you should get, or how does it work for you?
I can sell you right now if you want me, Cole. So like, Cole, if you're coming in off the street and you're like, yeah, I dabbled, but I don't really work out. Like I'm going to tell you probably twice a week's good, because that's a start. Yeah. Okay. It's more than you're doing right now. And I'm going to encourage you to like walk on those other days. Okay. And then from there, it's like really depending on your goals. Like, hey, Zach, I want to build muscle. And like, maybe if someone's like an ectomorph, someone who's maybe, it's harder for them to put on weight. Okay. I would be like, hey, maybe 3 times a week. And I would encourage like a push day, a pull day, and a lower day. Like that's a very great split to start with, right? Very, like we'll do all pushing, like chest, shoulders, triceps on one day, pulling muscles on the next day, and like a full leg day on the last day. Because the truth is like, and a lot of people too, when they start with me and we do twice a week, Cole, I rarely will do like a full upper and a full lower day, because most people's bodies can't handle that type of intensity for a full hour workout. And obviously that's where like having a good trainer comes in, like an understanding how to scale. Like if someone comes in and they told me like all they do all day is like sit and maybe walk a little bit, like we're going to lift probably only 20 minutes of the work of the hour, right? Yeah. Another 20 minutes is going to be work on flexibility, like really, once again, it just depends on what it comes down to. But yeah, I'm sorry, I forget where the question even was.
Like the frequency of the days.
Yeah, the frequency. So yeah, it's like, I think if someone new is coming in, definitely 2 to 3 times a week is plenty. Like, especially if you're like are training with a barbell or free weights, like that is plenty. But once again, it just comes back to like, what are you currently doing? Yeah. Right. And so I would tell anyone who's like interested in a trainer or maybe hiring a trainer, like just be honest in the beginning. And a good trainer will like really go through all that. We have park cues and kind of understanding your health history and these types of things. So
it's like too, like people that like want to lose weight and they'll lie about their weight to start. And it's like, why? What you're like, first off, now you're making your results look smaller when you start losing weight. But if you like, I don't know, I just like being truthful, especially with your trainer, like they're not going to judge you. They don't care if you're 300 pounds. They're happy you're here. They're happy that you're willing to put in the work. Like it doesn't matter what your goals are. They're happy that you're willing to come in and, start that fitness journey.
Trust is the best thing I can tell a trainer, like a new trainer, to like learn how to build trust, man. Yeah. I mean, but you have to be authentic, right? Like people trust me because they know I'm going to help them, right? Yeah. Like, and we have obviously years of testimonials and these things to prove that, but like it really, they come in, they know that Zach's got me.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I've known you for what, like 2 hours at this point, and I can tell you're a very real person. Like you don't hide behind, some shadow. And even when we've got on the microphones, you're still the same person. Yeah, it's not, that, it doesn't matter whether you're being filmed, whether it's off air, like anything like that. You're real.
I feel very comfortable in here. This is my safe space.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Maybe it'll make it better conversation than if we did it in my, crappy looking basement sometimes. Good, so I guess I wanted to ask too, like, what's your typical type of client? I mean, you probably have a wide range, but is it like the weight loss, the muscle building? What kind of type of clients do you normally take on? Obviously, you'd probably take all of them on, but what's your typical, what would you say is your expertise in?
Sure. Yeah, so someone will come in, Cole, and they'll say like very commonly like, hey, I want to lose weight, I want to gain muscle, but they don't really know what that means, right? And part of my job is helping them understand like what like being healthier means. So Honestly, man, like I really don't like, yes, we make smart goals in the beginning. I think that's important. Like, hey, let's lose X amount. Let's lose but a lot of what I focus on is habit building. Once again, okay? I'm not like telling people, hey, your goals don't matter. They very much matter, okay? And we're going to make sure the workouts are tailored towards that. But getting someone to understand, like, yes, I probably need to lose weight, but gaining muscle is important. Like, that does happen a lot still, where you have someone come in, well, I don't want to get too bulky. And it's like, listen, like, I've been doing this naturally for like 10 years and like, I still can't get bulky and it sucks. But, yeah, man, it's generally like weight loss, because here's the truth. Most people know they should be working out. Probably, I mean, nutrition education is a lot worse for some demographics than you would think, Cole, right? But like most people, for the most part, know what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing, right? So coming in, like, it's probably like they know how to move. Maybe they're a little inflexible too. That's something like a lot of people come in, oh, like, I didn't know I was like this inflexible. And like, that's just like, we address that more in the beginning too, before we strength train too much, just so no one gets injured, of course. But, it's generally more weight loss because people come in and they're like nervous about weight gain because of the muscle. But it's the first thing we do. Body fat testing in here of the skin caliper. I only put it on people who feel comfortable doing it, but it's teaching them like, hey, the number on the scale doesn't matter because muscle weighs more than fat.
That is such a big misconception, where people don't realize we're like, you're losing weight. You're losing the fat. Yes, you may not see the scale exactly showing, the weight loss that you want. The fat is burning off and you're putting muscle on at the same time. I feel like so many people, just don't grasp that point and they get discouraged because they're like, the scale's not moving. The scale's not moving. Because, like, I'll be honest, hopefully she doesn't listen enough to want to kill me, but my girlfriend's going through the weight loss journey right now.
Sure.
And we had this talk one night. She's like, the scale's not going down as much as I want. And I was like, go take, she had pictures from the beginning. I was we're going to go take more pictures. And we looked at them and I was like, look, you can see the difference. Powerful. Like, it's not always the scale's going to show you everything you want to see.
Yeah, I have this newer guy. He started with me in the last few months, and he's up already a few pounds. And he hopped on the scale here, and he was like scratching his head. But like even he understood, being somewhat of a newer lifter still. Like he's like, Zach, I'm feeling like my clothes are like fitting a little tighter. Yeah. Like I've even had people say things, and I'm like, others notice first. You generally notice last. Yep. And these little things do matter, right? And so I'll have some people even like journal some of this stuff because it really. We have to like throw out the idea like the scale. Sure, it matters. Like having excess body fat is not healthy, right? Yeah. Like I think that gets, and maybe that may get you canceled, Cole. I don't know. Yeah, like a lot of people don't like
much worse.
But like excess body fat like is not healthy, right? So but from there it's I really work from the angle, let's just be better than where you started with me, okay? Mm-hmm. And like I generally tried to tell people when they come in, like, hey, my goal is to educate you on how to be confident, comfortable, and consistent in the gym, right? And like if I'm only with someone for 3 months, but I help them along that process, and even a smaller group, I feel rewarded and happy, right? Because this health stuff, health is your current response to your environment, right? Just whatever's going on currently, that's your health right now. What's your body doing to what's happening, right? So our health is always going to change, Cole. So it's, I'm just trying to get people to buy into the fact like, hey, I need to do this every fucking day. Yeah. It's just like, that's part of life, man. Like if you want to live long, like you need to move. Yeah. It doesn't have to be weightlifting.
Yeah. That's what I've tried to, we've talked about on the podcast before. Sometimes it's as simple as just going outside, going for a walk, take your dog for a walk. I mean, that's one of the easiest ways. My girlfriend, she has, 20 minutes cardio to hit. Sometimes she's like, I get tired of walking on the treadmill, running on the treadmill and staring at a glass wall. Like, so she'll come home after the workout, put the dogs on a leash and go for a 20-minute walk. And it's like, great. See, and then it's something that you enjoy a little bit more too. And you get tired of the dogs out. So that's great. Keep doing it. Yeah. So, but I kind of wanted to ask too on like your thoughts on, I know you're not, a big nutrition guy per se, but you obviously probably know enough. What are your thoughts on like the intermittent fasting? Because that's becoming like a huge thing. Sure. And I wanted your thoughts on it.
Yeah. I mean, like I'll always be transparent here. I, for like a couple of years, definitely followed that method. And, I think looking back, like, it helped me. I I think in those moments, I didn't understand though, like what my goals were and like how I was trying to get to that. So my personal opinion though, Cole, is like when someone comes to me now and tells me they're doing it, you know, I'll ask them why. And, you know, 99% of the time it's like not aligning with anything. So, you know, I don't know enough. I'm sure, you know, there's studies out there that say why it's good, but in my gym, here's why it's not good. If you're like coming here to train, I'm going to train you hard. Okay. And you need to fuel your body for that. Okay. If you're fasted and you don't have any type of carbohydrates or glycogen in your body, like you're not going to perform well, man. And what I really want to teach, and like, listen, I am a bodybuilder. I have gotten on that stage. I've cut down to that weight. Like having that amount of least amount of body fat isn't healthy, man. It really isn't. But it's something I enjoyed and like I did in my past. And I'm aware now of like what I do. So I don't know if I'll ever get back on the stage because that's not something I super align with, man, because I really believe how we should coach and teach people is like, make the gym or activity every single day and fuel your body for that. Because I believe if you fuel your body, you can push really fucking hard. Yeah. Man, I mean, like I'm a maniac in here. And like, I believe if I lead that way and show that, then yeah. But I've done in the past, man. I think in the world of performance, it's not good. Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah, I don't know. I've done it. Well, I like not on purpose do it because like I hardly ever wake up early enough to eat my breakfast, and then
this is most
half
people.
the time I forget my lunch for lunch, so I like won't eat until 6 o'clock.
I keep a shit ton of Welch's gummy snacks in there for people when they show up. That's the first thing I ask people actually. Like what have you eaten? Are you hydrated? Like that's important. It's actually really important because if someone tells me they haven't eaten or drank much in the last few, I'm not going to push them as hard. Yeah, well, and they may not like that, but I've had people pass out, man. Yeah, and it's because they're not being honest with me.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want that. Like one, it's a liability, and two, like that's just something that you don't want to have happen. And I feel like with like the intermittent fasting or even like the 72-hour fast that was going around for a while, which I started it, and then I quit after I think I made it 24 hours, but I was like, I started looking into it and I was like, I was doing it wrong. Like I was doing things I didn't follow. Like I just was like, I'll just stop eating. Like, and it's like, I think a lot of people don't really, they see it on Instagram, they see it on TikTok and they're like, oh, I'm going to do that. And it's like, yeah, but you need to look into it more of what you're actually supposed to do if you're going to do something like that.
And I'll argue, Cole, too, a little bit. A lot of people are doing it for the wrong reasons. It's actually a form of self-hate a little bit. I mean, like, and I'm not saying that's why everyone does it. I mean, I think at the end of the day, intermittent fasting, what it's doing is you're saying, okay, I can only eat for this X amount of time. Yeah, most people are going to lose weight when you say you can't eat during certain hours, right? Like you're just like taking food away, right? And like the truth is though, most people don't fucking need that, man. They need to learn how to like meal prep. They need to learn how to be consistent with their food. They need to learn how to, because a lot of times, and me personally, like I was younger when I was doing that stuff and I could get away with a lot more. I was also like a good athlete. I was powerlifting. I was doing all these things. Like I was probably eating a shit ton of calories at night, going to bed, and like, I probably not the best method. That's what worked for me. Like, I think there's probably advantages to intermittent fasting. Yeah. But I think when you step into my gym, I'm going to ask you to push it really hard, and that's not going to be conducive with that. So,
well, and I think some of the people like that are doing the intermittent fast, they're not intermittent fasting, getting a workout in the middle of it too. Like, so I don't know. I'm going to, swing this to a different direction of like the carnivore diet. Sure. On your thoughts on that? Like, have you ever done it or anything like that?
Yeah. When I was working at Cardinal Health, I tried like keto once, and, I've always felt this like, hey, I want to try things with my, like, be experimenting, see like, okay, what foods do certain things to my body? And I remember trying like the keto thing, and like what I come back to is like that's not sustainable. Yeah. So like diets shouldn't be like, we really need to focus on like teaching people like, just like, hey, your plate should have some protein, some greens, fiber, right, and good carbohydrates on it, and like, and being consistent with that. Because I think if people eat that way, strength train, walk, like you're going to be so healthy, man. And that, I'm really trying to live that every day right now.
And I think some of it too is just portion control. Sure. All right, you're at a buddy's house, you're watching a football game, they got pizza. Yeah, you can eat some pizza, sure, but fine. Maybe not eat half the pizza instead of just eat a few pieces. Like
the shirtless photo I posted on Friday, Thursday night, I was eating pizza for my girlfriend's brother's birthday. Like, and I'm saying that because like that, I had that plan. I wanted to eat pizza that night. Like, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay though, because I'm consistent all the other time.
Exactly.
Like, I think people just like listen, you don't have to, you can eat pizza all the time and be healthy. Like, I think that can exist, but it's like, you have to like shape your life in a way to make that exist. If eating pizza is important to you, then make it work, right?
And don't make a cheat meal a cheat week or a cheat weekend. Like,
Sure.
Don't make it drag out either.
Yeah. Well, I don't use like cheat. I don't like that stuff. It's like,
I don't either, because it's not. It's almost like, you know what, you've worked for this. Like, it's not like
life. Like, people, we have birthday parties. You eat cake. That's normal, man. Like,
you should be able to have a normal life.
It's really tough, Cole, because like people come in here and like, you know, that's why I really, really try to get people to buy into loving to lift.
Yeah.
Because I believe so firmly inside that like, if you love the barbell and love free weights, it all else will fall in line, because you're like, wait, I need to like eat more to like lift.
You feel hungry after a workout, whether you just ate right before it or not.
Yeah, man. So like, that's how I operate. So yeah, we talk about nutrition and stuff here, and like, you know, I'm making sure people aren't doing dumb shit, but like, you know, and that's why Audrey, it's great having her around, because she's gonna like start really filling that need for us. But it's yeah, man, just really trying to get people to be 80% of the time, right? Like, just don't fucking most people, they feel like they got to do this, and then they rebound. It's just never it's never consistent.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's what I'm struggling with right now. And it's just, you know, I make the excuses of if I don't have time, but we all have time. And it's just, I think, how often do you hear that excuse of I don't have time?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that is a common thing in the fitness world, is I don't have time for it.
Yeah. It's tough. And listen, it's easy. I can sit here and say like, I'm technically single. Audrey and I are together, but like, I'm not married. I don't have kids. Like, I don't have a ton of other obligations besides my gym. So, you know, I always admit like, yes, it's technically easier for me, but like, I prioritize this, and like, I'll never miss a workout, because it's my non-negotiable. And I think a lot of people just like, really, they don't have that honest conversation enough. And like, is this important to me? If it's not, then why am I getting mad at myself? Right. Because your actions aren't aligning with your goals. And like, if they're not, then just like, let it go.
Yeah.
All right. Just be okay with being like you can still be healthy and go to the gym a few times a week. I think people just put these false realities on themselves, and like, they're always just like, oh, I feel like I'm underachieving, but really just underachieve every day and you'll be pretty healthy. I guess.
Exactly.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. Fitness is an interesting realm. I think a lot of people are misconceived about fitness, and that's why I think it is very important for people to find, you know, people like you. Find a trainer, especially if you don't know. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, don't try because a lot of times people, you know, they'll make their own workout plans, and they're not all bad, but you're maybe not getting the maximum, you know, that you could get out of it if you went to someone like you and Jake and Noah and those guys.
I think even hiring a trainer for like 2 months is like, can be really effective.
Do you have, you know, those people that come in and then they're like, all right, I kind of got a good understanding of this.
It happens. And you
can,
can like, we'll identify like early on, like probably who those types of people are. Like, a lot of people that stay with us consistently are like business professionals that have the disposable income for it and understand like, this is something I just have to do every day. Yeah. And like, we've gotten people to buy into that, because we believe that, man. I do it every day. Yeah. Like, people see, like, that's why I'll post. Like, I broke, you know, dropped this 100-pound plate on my foot. Jake and all his clients were in here, and signed up for a pool membership that day, because I knew that's something I could still do for my legs. And like, and that's why I post, man, because like, my clients see that and they're like, oh, like, Zach didn't just stop. Yeah. I tore my bicep, man, and I trained a client that morning, Tyler, and I was squatting the next day with a safety squat bar. Like, you figure it out, right? Like, and it's because it's important to me, and like, I really try to show that, because that I live it, man. I live it, cool. And like, if my clients are like, okay, like, Zach, he's doing it. He broke his foot.
Well, they expect they wouldn't even be, you know, maybe like, oh, what the hell? Why is he not doing anything? It's like, oh wow, he is like, yeah, he didn't need to be doing this. Like, he could probably take some time off.
Yeah, they all tell me to chill out. I can't, man. I can't.
Oh, I get it. I understand.
I'm in here with my foot, and they're like, and I finally said, I'm like, listen, I'm self-employed. This is what I have to do. Like, I said, listen, if it was really fucked up, I wouldn't be in here. But,
exactly.
But yeah, man, I wear my shit on my sleeve, man. Like, it means a lot to me. So,
what would you say is like the number one mistake people make when they get into fitness?
Number one mistake. This is a good one. Number one mistake, I would say, we've already talked about it, but I guess like thinking they have to be like super extreme, but or, you know, feeling like they have to do specific things. Like I like literally just start. I mean, I remember being afraid to open the gym, and I'm like, just sign it, Zach. Like I remember I was like having this like out of body moment, and that's like really how you should approach fitness. Like just start. Like Audrey was talking about this yesterday about this guy who like drove to the gym every day for like a month, but didn't go in.
Yeah.
He just started the habit, right? Or, you know, it's maybe been talked about before, but like, I mean, that's perfect. I mean, that's fitness in a nutshell. Like I always tell people like, hey, when you walk in this door, you're like a little snowball on the top of the hill, and you just took your first step, and the momentum is going to build. And it really, you get into this like almost like flow where you're like, you'll wake up one day and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to the gym. That's what I do. I'm Cole. I go to the gym. I'm a healthy person. That's what I do. And it just changes.
I like that you talked to earlier about, you know, it's your non-negotiables. I think it's very important for everybody to have every single day. These are my non-negotiables. Like I will get these done. I don't care if it's 12 o'clock at night. I'm going to get it done before I go to bed and those type of things.
It's a form of self-love, man.
Yeah.
I love myself, so I hold myself to a higher standard. I am very hard on myself, but it's because I love myself, man. And I wouldn't expect someone else to like, I have a lot of people in my life that love me, but you know, I hope they hold me to that same standard too. Right. But like, if I'm not doing that, and I know like when I'm slipping up on my shit, I'm like what, maybe like my confidence is down or something's going on. Right. Like, and I remember coming out of my bicep again, Cole, and I wasn't doing anything. And I was like feeling down every day, but like it slowly grew, man. And like and I'm back. And I remember I remember sitting there at old school, bicep torn. I was still thinking about the gym. I'm like, I'm gonna have this. And my goal was I was trying to sign it on the day I tore my bicep. I'd signed it the day after, so it was like November 1st. It was like my first day here officially, but I tore my bicep on October 31st.
Yeah.
So 1 year later, I'm signing for my gym.
And it's
having that belief.
It's important too to have those people in your corner. Like, you know, you have those people that will kick you in the ass a little bit. Cause I mean, we all go through those spells where we're unmotivated and don't want to do anything, or we're down in the dumps, and it's normal. That's life. You're going to go up, you're going to go down. Yeah. It's a roller coaster for a reason. I mean, I've had it to where I've been sitting, like I'll get home, get some things done, sit on the couch, and my girlfriend will look at me and be like, don't you need to go edit?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. Yeah. And she'll like pause the TV and be like, go at it. And
That's
it's like,
great.
Damn it, I didn't want to do this, but I mean, it's good. But then you get like and it's one of those things too. Once you start doing it, it's like, I feel so much better now. Like, it's just like when I get to the gym, I feel so much better. Like, yes, I was dreading it. I did not want to come today, but I feel better that I did it because you accomplished that goal, that task.
Most people are just like a decision away from like feeling better, right? I always say to a lot of people, come in, they get really comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Like it's like that's the human flaw, really. Like is like we're really good at that. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Just hold yourself to a little more of a standard, and like everything else comes from that. I really believe.
So I got one more question about the fitness side of things that I wanted to ask about is the cold plunging. Are you a cold plunger, or like what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so
because it's becoming a very now you're not cold plunging unless you're posting about it. Yeah. I said that, and I may be with that guy, but just let it go.
As someone who like posts a lot of things with my shirt off, like I just feel like it's definitely one of those grabs for people and be like, oh, look at me, like I'm in here without my shirt off. So whatever, like we can laugh about that. So Brian Peters was someone who trained with us at Old School for a while. Very, very smart guy. I'm not going to even try to get into all the things he does because I'll just like butcher it. But he had a sauna and taught us a lot about, you know, the hot and cold therapies. And the one thing I've read and learned is that like a lot of this cold therapy stuff's like really only beneficial on like off day. Like at least, if we're talking about lifting, like in my world, okay? Like I don't want to I don't know because this is all I care about. Cool. All right. What happens in here and lifting weights. So in my world, like for hypertrophy and performance purposes, like I think it's really only good for non-lifting days. I can see a lot of these dudes like lift, hop in there. I mean, once again, bro science here, but I think it does something to the muscle recovery process, right? Like, because like if you think about it, when you have like inflammation in your foot and you ice it, I think it's like you want inflammation when you're bodybuilding or strength training, right? Like you want that muscle to break down and then recover, right? So I think that's the thought process. Now The other side of that though is like, okay, most people, are they trying to be a fucking bodybuilder or someone on stage?
Yeah.
Probably not. So ask yourself then, all right, is this like something that's a non-negotiable now that's like helping me stay to a standard? If it is, then I would say it is a good thing then, actually, man. I believe in this world, like not everything has to be like, we live in this world of like perform, like everyone's got to be a top performer. Like you sit at a fucking desk, man, just like try to be a little healthier. Like you don't have to be, like Michael Phelps or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once again, if a cold plunge like helps you go to the gym every day, like and you're consistent, like, then yeah, it probably is a good thing regardless of what it's doing. That's my hot take, I guess. But yeah, I think the sauna I love sauna, man. Like I think that's good.
I haven't done the sauna until I did it with Jake. That was the first time I've ever done a sauna, and I was like, I did not know it'd be like that. Like I don't know what I was expecting, but I was like, it does like. But I don't know. I'm more of a cold plunge guy.
Okay, I see guys. They'll do like the sauna and they'll jump in like a colder pool.
Yeah,
maybe that like the contrast stuff I guess is pretty good. But once again, Cole, this is where I operate from. Most people just need to go fucking take a walk, not get in the cold plunge.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, because my clients are coming like, "What is this, Zach?" I'm like, "Don't what like." Just come work out another day. Like stop.
But so is there anything else with fitness that you'd like to add before we go into some of these final segments of the podcast?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I feel like I put my good word out there about how I feel with the fitness world.
Well, obviously, get to the others, like the how to get in contact with you at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But
no, I would just say like really, there's one thing I want to like leave with is like enter the gym and feel your body, because I tell you, like there's something addicting about like getting stronger, and it like really helps you to lead back, because image is fleeting, right? We're all going to look different in 10 years. We're all, I'm not going to be able to put on as much muscle as I wanted to, and I'm aware of that, and that's like ego, and something I struggle with. I won't lie. I'm like, whoa, like I won't always have this, but man, that's why I'm not worried though, because it's so important to me already.
Yeah.
So I know I'll be doing it when I'm 50. So,
exactly. I did have another question is, where do you see yourself? Where do you see Matheny Muscle in 5 years?
5 years. So this like immediate year, we're very still focused on building our in-personal training. Okay. We've been lucky though. We've been growing quite fast. And so now, and I guess we'll put on here cause we just shot content for it, but we're going to start offering like live workouts. So they're going to be free at first, but I think over the next year, we want to grow into a platform where we're offering almost daily live workouts, and then you can subscribe to us and get all those on the back end if you want. So that's the next year. And then 3 to 5 year plan is like starting to grow even more online. I mean, because honestly, Cole, I love this space. I would love to stay here. Honestly, I love where we're located out in Grandview. We're right off 315. If anyone needs to get us like from the north or south, pretty quick too. And yeah, man, I would love a little bigger gym, but it gets more complicated because it's now this like thing you have to pay every month. I'd rather scale online. I knew I always wanted my own space, so this is a perfect spot. It's not much out of my pocket each month. I don't have to like really sweat it. That was the best thing Corey taught me, at least through the initial process, was like, hey man, don't bite off more than you can chew. So I hope we're growing more online, and that's going to be a lot in the online training space and maybe even an app. But that's definitely the 3 to 5 year plan. Yeah. But in the immediate, some live workouts are coming soon.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's very important too. It's like you could tell you've thought about this. It's, as a business person, yes, you have to be focused on what you're going on right now, but you also have to be looking in the future, because I feel like too many people are focused like just on the now and the past and not like growing through that. Like you have to have goals to grow to.
Yeah, I told myself if I was getting this space, man, it couldn't just be in-person training. We had to start scaling up. So. Yeah.
So I do have the final question of the podcast, and this is my favorite question to ask all of my guests, and it is, if you could go back in time and tell your 16-year-old self one thing, what would it be? Okay.
This is good. I mean, honestly, Cole, when I was 16, I made this little logo. It's called Hercules Health. I was thinking about this stuff when I was 16. I think what I would say is probably, don't worry. But like I know that sounds silly, but like I really have been thinking about this stuff for a long time, Cole, and I really thought if I put in my time, like each year, like it'll just compound and build, and it has. And I've been really, really lucky. A big reason I found the gym was because my parents were going through a rough divorce when I was in high school, and I just tell myself to be like, hey, it's gonna be okay. I think I'm definitely a natural worrier. I think that makes me a good business person though too. So I like worried a lot, man. I like worried if it was gonna work out, because even during COVID, and I believe a big part of this is like never doubt yourself. I like always believe in myself. I really do. But like even through COVID and like some of those times, like I started like having these like, wait a second, being a business owner is tough. Like the gym's closed, man. And I had to figure out, I was training clients at the park. I was training clients at my apartment. But after that happened, I was like, wait, I think I was made for this. And then I tore my bicep, man. And I was like, I know I'm made for this. And then the gym opened, and I'm like, here the fuck I am. So yeah, man, that's I probably wouldn't say much. I don't know, man. I just say like, don't worry too much, man. Yeah. I mean, like I wouldn't give myself a lot of advice, and I guess I only say that cool because I really have been pretty honed in on this for a long time, man.
Yeah, it's just I feel like it's almost the advice that we give to ourselves nowadays too. Is even still, it's like because we all have our moments where we're like stressed out and like thinking that it's the worst, and it's like everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Now it depends on your effort and your work, and you can tell this has worked out because you've been putting in the work since you were 16. It's not a fast process. We live in this world nowadays where Instagram, social media, everything's quick, fast.
Yeah.
I mean, just look, if you go to the top of your Instagram feed, you want to look at some different stuff, you hit refresh and you got a brand new stuff to look at. You never see the same reel twice. Yeah, you might see the same sound or whatever, same type of video, because everybody just copies a lot of videos, which I'm guilty of doing it. I won't lie.
Yeah, we do it here.
I mean, but everybody lives in this instantaneous world, but it is a long, slow process, and it's really cool. You know, I love this space. I agree. This is an awesome space because it's big enough to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it also is just, it feels personal, which is awesome.
Yeah, man. And the most important thing to me in my life, Cole, was making sure like I loved what I did, and like I really do. And that means a lot to me. And I get to like it. Everyone says it, but it really hasn't felt like work. I've been really lucky, but yeah, dude, like we have so many like cool things planned, and Jake and Noah are like the best guys ever. So it's just like been being fun building a team. I like still can't believe it some days. So.
Love what you do. It's very important. You know, we're both similar. You know, we went to college, got our degrees. I have a marketing degree. So, and I am working a blue collar job. So it's like, you know, but I don't feel it as, you know, there are days that it sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like work. I enjoy going to work because I'm sure you probably have had people ask like, why didn't you use your degree or that kind of stuff. And like, I have people ask me that all the time, especially being in like legit manual labor still. And I'm like, cause I don't dread going to work every day and I have opportunities to grow to where I will use my degree.
You get to do things like this too, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just find what you love to do and just know probably what you tried the first time isn't it. Because we've all tried those different jobs and they're just not for us.
That's the truth, man.
I worked at a dog kennel for 5 years. I can guarantee you I don't want to deal with dogs anymore.
All right.
But so Zach, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it. Great workout too. That was I got to pull a little weight, which I haven't pulled in a while.
Yeah, but it
felt good. Where can people, you know, if they want to reach out to you about training, or where can people find you on social media and everything?
Yeah. It's Zach_Matheny on Instagram. And then MathenyMuscle.com is our website. We have an inquiry on there. So if you're just like interested in one of us like hitting you up about training, you're not really sure what to expect, I'd go on there and we have an inquiry form. And that's really easy to get a hold of. So
I will post all of that in the episode description as well and have all that, and you'll see it on social media. Sorry, I just need to get my notes up because I forget exactly what all I wanted to talk about. But I know I haven't been posting on Instagram as much, but I promise episodes have still been releasing. So the social media side of things is coming. It's just a lot to handle.
The podcast has got to come out. That's important.
That's more important. So, but yeah, definitely get in here for training. I just went through a workout, and I can tell you it's worth it. Sign up for our newsletter and follow us on social media. We will be posting a lot more about the volleyball tournament that's coming up here in July. July 13th is the date that it is happening. I'm not sure when registration will open. Probably the beginning of July, late end of June sometime is when it'll open. 6-person team, sand volleyball tournament, second annual. It's becoming an annual thing. Got some new things planned for that, so be on the lookout for all of that. But until next time, you guys know the deal. Life is hard, and it's going to knock you down just like a bull does to a bull rider. Don't let that bull of life walk all over you. Get up, grab the bull by the horns, and take control of your life. Roughnecks out.